Lesson 39 for course 1 is using decimals again. This time multiplying instead of add subtract. It's going to be a little different. If I needed the area of this rectangle pictured, we wouldn't add, of course. Formula for area of a figure like that is going to have us multiply these. But when you multiply, you don't follow the rules that we learned for adding, such as line up the decimal, maybe put a 0 here where there's a placeholder, right? That would have been add subtract, but that is not what I do for multiply. We kind of like on the computer where you've got that button that looks like this, right align, and everything is supposed to go kind of like up against this. So we set it up real simple. We just put every number all the way to the right. It doesn't matter that these are diagonal. That's how it should look. If it helps, you can even add like another line here to make sure everyone's staying up against the wall, so to speak. And then we just multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 7 is 35, plus the 2 is 37. Now, I've got a 3, a 7, and a 5. This is where some people might get tripped up deciding where should my decimal place go in my final answer. It's not just here. It's not just here because it was a 2-digit. We actually count the total number of decimal places in the original 2 factors. There were 2 here, 1 here, add them together, 3 total decimal places. So from here we go 1, 2, 3. So the answer, 375 hundredths, or 0.375 square meters. How we doing? Let's jump a page. They remind us of that here at the top of this page. How about 25 hundredths times 7 tenths? Again, we multiply them, right aligned. 7 times 5, 7 times 2. How many decimal places in all are in these 2 factors? Hundredths means 2, tenths means 1, and you add 2 plus 1, 3 total decimal places in the answer. Looking at this problem, what operation are we supposed to do when we see parentheses like these? Remember? That's multiply. Again, so we can set up our long form multiplication here. Now in this case, the decimals are lined up. That's okay. We followed the right align rule, and if they happen to line up, that's just fine. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Don't forget when you multiply, this is a 0 here. Then we move over 1 spot. 2 times 5 is 10. 10. Carry the 1, and there's a 0. Carry the 1, I've got 4, plus the 1 is 5. Add up at the end, right? This is adding. How many total decimal places in these 2 factors? Now, I just realized something about my book. This looks like the number 2, and I don't know if yours looks like that too. That would be just 2 times, but they say down here, and I just carried out the operation that we square 2.5, which would mean 2.5 times 2.5, which is why we did it this way, which is going to lead me to 6 1/4, 6.25. But I need this to be written like this. So if you get confused why we did it this way, it's because this is using it like it's 2.5, and we learned about this last lesson, squared. That should be a raised little 2, or on calculator sometimes caret 2. I'm upset about that. I'm not going to lie. But I digress. Let's move on regardless. Can't do anything about that. Maybe they fixed it in your book, I hope. A mile is about 1 1/6 kilometer. 6/10 kilometers, I should say. Mara Cruz ran a 3-mile cross-country race. So how many kilometers? A mile is about 1 6/10 kilometers. That's a 6. So 3 miles is how many kilometers? Well, we're going to multiply how many miles we have by how many kilometers each mile is worth. So 3 times 1 6/10 comes out to 4, 8, 1 decimal place in our two factors. So move over just 1, and you get 4 8/10 kilometers. Let's do B, D, F, I. Sounds good?